And so I was asked if I knew about this and what my thoughts were. And I was going to use, they sent me a link, and it's one of these conspiracy websites. Now, I'm a conspiracy theorist, but some of these conspiracy theory websites are way out there. I mean, I can't jump on board. So I was glad to find that there was a more mainstream article out recently. Have you ever heard of Wired magazine? And who's talking about that? And that is that these people, I believe, are unwittingly, as they follow this Antichrist spirit, they are unwittingly being used to establish what needs to be done for the Antichrist. And here's what's going on right now that is not in the news. I couldn't find any major news story about it. But they are building in Utah, you see the picture maybe from this National Security Agency, the NSA. I'll just explain in case you haven't heard of that. But you have the FBI, it's supposed to be domestic. Then you have the CIA that's supposed to be foreign. Don't believe it. And the FBI and the CIA are just different layers. They're all over the globe. And then the more secretive layer beyond the CIA is the NSA, the National Security Agency. And they are building the country's biggest spy center. And this is how Wired described it. It's the final piece of a secret surveillance network that will intercept and store your phone calls, emails, Google searches, anything you put in the air. They are building a 1 million square foot facility, and every 6 inches or so will have a gigabyte or something like that of storage. You know, a trigabyte is the most recent that is it a trilobyte or a trigabyte?
It's a terabyte.
Terabyte, that's what it is.
The next one is a petrobyte.
What's the next one after that?
Petabyte. Well, they're 40 years away from making anything stored beyond a petabyte.
Okay, well they used some. Maybe they were.
Right now we're.
They used to. It started with a Y.
Yeah, that's way in the future.
You sure?
Yeah. If they can
Thomas has more faith in his.
A 50 petabyte hard drive within the next 10 years, then the Y is a lot closer than we thought.
But regardless, this amount of storage that they're putting in this place is enough storage to catch everything you do and everything every human being does on the internet and in the satellites and everything. And it's just basically downloading it. And they have developed software then that can go in and search all of that using keywords, key phrases, and that sort of thing, in order to locate those who are, you remember the word chatter? Have you heard that recently? You know, after 9/11, they talked about chatter. Well, what no one really picked up on is what they meant is they are spying, listening to everything these Muslim terrorist groups are doing. Internet, cell phones, emails, everything. And when they would pick up these key words, they'd already developed the software, and when they pick up those key words and phrases, that was what they called chatter. And supposedly, I don't know which ones are authentic and which ones aren't. I believe some of this stuff is just what they call false flags. It gives them an excuse to put more laws on you, to clamp down more on you. But I do believe there are authentic terror groups, so that gives them even more, don't hate me for being honest with you, but I don't think the Oklahoma City bombing was a terrorist event. I believe it was a false flag event. I believe there is so much evidence that Timothy McVeigh worked for our government. He did what he did. And all I can tell you is 15 years ago I would not have believed it. But in the last 15 years of research I've done, I believe our government kills Americans for their own purposes. And they kill them by the thousands. And when my grandpa told me years ago that Pearl Harbor was staged. That blew me away because my grandpa wasn't into this stuff. He wasn't into it, but he said, you look into it. And I did. You find out what, they have a newspaper that in Hawaii where they announced like 2 days before it happened that they saw Japanese planes coming at us. But they were under orders, and they set everything up the way it was set up on Pearl Harbor. And
They had the fleet deployed.
yeah,
Otherwise, if they really didn't know what was going on, they'd have sank the entire fleet in one fell swoop.
I was joking about Thomas having more faith in our government because I know Thomas has,
Zero.
yeah, he literally has the faith of a mustard seed. But I don't trust. Now I'm not saying that every congressman you know or every senator or anybody, most of them are dupes. Right now they're having hearings with Eric Holder, and they don't have a clue what that guy's doing. They don't know what's going on. Our Congress is so out of the loop, and it's just embarrassing. If we were to face the founding fathers, for them to see what's going on right now. But I want to show you something as we discuss this. Turn in the book of Matthew. I want to show you something, and I hope it'll give you a little bit of a perspective on this. In Matthew 25, now Matthew 25, verse 1, says, "Then shall the kingdom of heaven be likened unto 10 virgins, which took their lamps and went forth to meet the bridegroom. 5 of them were wise, and 5 were foolish." Now most of you know the story that the foolish took their lamps and took no oil with them, but the wise took oil in their vessels with their lamps. In verse 5, while the bridegroom tarried, they all slumbered and slept. Now, this is mainly about you being wise and being saved and having the Spirit of God. But I want you to look at the twin truth here. Those who are saved and have the Spirit of God aren't slumbering and sleeping. You see, it's easy for people to say, yeah, I'm saved, I have the Spirit of God. But if you're saved, you shouldn't be slumbering and sleeping. And it says in verse 6, "And at midnight there was a cry made, Behold, the bridegroom cometh. Go ye out to meet him." In verse 7, "Then all those virgins arose and trimmed their lamps." Verse 8, "And the foolish said unto the wise, Give us of your oil, for our lamps are gone out. But the wise answered, saying, Not so, lest there be not enough for us and you. But go ye rather to tell them that sell and buy for yourselves. And while they went to buy, the bridegroom came, and they were ready. They that were ready went in with him to the marriage, and the door was shut." Now, verse 11, "Afterward came also the other virgins, saying, Lord, Lord, open to us. But he answered and said, Verily I say unto you, I know you not." Now read verse 13 with me. "Watch therefore, for ye know neither the day nor the hour wherein the Son of Man cometh." See, we're told to be wise, to be saved, to have the Spirit of God, but we're also told to watch. And what we're doing tonight is an exercise in watching. And this thing that's going on out there in Utah it's creepy. Not only what they're doing, but the way it's described by people. And this is just an example, one example. Listen to how it's described. He says, like the let me start here. "Just off Beef Hollow Road, less than a mile from Brethren headquarters, thousands of hard-hatted construction workers in sweat-soaked T-shirts are laying the groundwork for the newcomer's own temple and archive, a massive complex so large that it necessitated expanding the town's boundaries. Once built, it will be more than 5 times the size of the U.S. Capitol. Did you get that? Once this thing is built, for $2 billion, it will be 5 times the size of the U.S. Capitol. No.
Shoot, the Iranian,
Shovel-ready job.
the Iraqi embassy is bigger than the Vatican.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen now. Rather than Bibles, prophets, and worshipers, this temple will be filled with servers, computer intelligence experts, and armed guards.
Christians are not welcome.
No.
That's what I'm saying. Don't be after us.
And instead of listening for words flowing down from heaven, these newcomers will be secretly capturing, storing, and analyzing vast quantities of words and images hurtling through the world's telecommunication networks. And on and on it goes. Describes this thing in spiritual terms. It's just an amazing thing, and I won't bore you with a long, detailed, but I want to tell you, man, when I was reading this and reading on this and went online and stuff, they have this is the seal and the deal. Because you remember, turn to Revelation 13, I want to show you something else.
You know, Apple, for the people that goes and spreads the Apple information about their new products and get people to buy them, they're actually technically called termed evangelists. Yes, they're evangelists.
Yeah,
Yep.
because we were talking about the cult. Is that yesterday? Revelation 13, let me tell you, Steve Jobs was a very spiritual person, but he was not into the Spirit of Christ. But Steve Jobs was very spiritual. He had a spiritual side to him behind everything he did. And he was also very vindictive and evil. And he left billions of dollars when he died with instructions to destroy Google. They have now set their sights on destroying Google. But word is he has other people on his hit list. I'm glad I didn't know him. Revelation 13, verse 11. Now, keep in mind what we're looking at about this. This is control, folks. This is George Orwell, 1984, has been fulfilled. George Orwell was a spirit-filled prophet of Lucifer. I ain't kidding you. That guy was spirit-filled and prophesying, and it's been fulfilled right here in this Utah. Now look in chapter 13, look at verse 11. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth. And he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. And look at verse 12. Now the third word there. And he exerciseth. Okay? You'll see the word exerciseth, causeth, or cause. Those are all from a Greek word in our received text, poie, which means force of law. You understand this? This isn't just someone telling you what to do and making you do it. This is going to be the law of the land. Force of law. It says he exerciseth all the power, poie, of the first beast before him. What do you get? What's that thing called? A power of attorney? See, when you hear that word power, to them gave he the power to become the sons of God. That's a legal term. It's legal. Law. And we have been given the legal power to become the sons of God, being justified by faith. Justified. That's a legal term. You get a Supreme Court justice. Legal term. So it says, again, look at it. And he exerciseth all the power of the first beast before him, and causeth, poie, the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast whose deadly wound was healed. It continues describing what he's going to do, but look what it says in verse 14. And deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live. And he had power to give life unto the beast, image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. Ask yourself, how is he going to be able to do that? How is he going to be able to do that? Just like if you go into look at how if you buy what they were supposed to be doing in Afghanistan. I know for a fact they didn't put a lot of effort into catching Osama bin Laden. They put most of their effort into protecting and building a transcontinental gas pipeline and protecting the CIA's poppy fields for their drug trade. That's what they did. But along with that, they were supposed to be hunting down Al-Qaeda. And they had a real problem doing that. This kind of thing is going to put an end to the problem. See, that's how they're able to get this stuff passed through the Congress, and a lot of it, like you said, isn't even on budget. It's because there's always a good reason behind it. You know, put that microchip in the back of your kid's head, because if they're ever lost, we'll just use GPS and find them. See? There's always a good reason for doing this stuff. Good motivation. And what kind of parent are you if you don't want to find your kid?
If not enough to do it, they'll just have somebody steal the kids for them.
Yeah, or just, if you send them to school, they'll do it while they're in school.
Yeah, I wondered about that.
They'll make a market if they can't find one.
Because I know Jody's on dialysis, and I know that you have to be so careful.
Yeah.
And that he was supposed to be in caves and everything else like that, that he was supposed to be, I mean, he could not have survived. And they showed the room that he was supposedly living in. I mean, there's pot there, there's all kinds of stuff that a dialysis person was...
They've got video of him in a German American military hospital after 9/11.
Yeah,
They have video of that.
There is no way that was him that they killed. You know,
Yeah.
And they found...
Well, and you know what? They kill their own all the time, so they may have killed him at some point. I just don't think it was...
I think he's been dead for a very long time.
Yeah,
But
they had to throw him in the ocean immediately, though, Sandy.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. If I don't know so much about dialysis, I would know.
We will never know the whole truth and everything, but I don't buy the official storyline. So you look at verse 16. Read that with me. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand and their foreheads. Now there's that chip and all that. And then verse 17, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. They may not be building this for that purpose, but that is what it will be used for. Bottom line.